I'm Bopsto, the Elder Weeb,
And I am Red, the bald-headed wonder.
and we are the Anime Boys.
The
Join us,
anime boys!
join us as we guide you through the familiar and unfamiliar. In this exciting first episode, we are covering Jujutsu Kaisen. So join us as we discuss the first 13 episodes. For those who have not watched it, then we encourage you to pause the video and do so. If you like high-budget action, creepy monsters, and beef jerky, then you are sure to enjoy Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah,
So,
buddy.
so, so, Red, what did you think of Jujutsu Kaisen?
Honestly, Bobsto, I thoroughly enjoyed this anime from start to finish. Every
Same, man,
episode,
same.
every episode was just action-packed, full of adventure, full of just painstaking emotions from literally episode 1. Um,
Hmm.
I literally don't see a downside to the anime itself. From the action to the my personal favorite, the fight scenes with
Uh-huh.
the swivel camera actions. That was absolutely phenomenal to me. It gave me a
Hmm.
whole new outlook on how fighting works in anime,
Hmm.
and it really introduced me on a whole new track of what anime should look like. So,
Hmm.
generally, to me, I found the anime to be absolutely intriguing.
Yeah, no, same here. I really like enjoyed the soundtrack, the themes that it touches on, all that, including what you just mentioned with the fight animation and everything else is just really good. So, anyways, we're gonna get into the little introductory arc in the for the first three episodes,
Heck yeah.
where we're introduced to Yuji
All right.
and
So
Yuji. So what do you think of Yuji?
honestly, the introduction of Yuji had me a little had me a little sidewinded for a bit because like
Hmm.
when it comes to Yuji, when you first see him, you think, oh, this is just that cool dude sitting in the corner, quiet guy. Nah, that's not Yuji.
Hmm.
Yuji,
I get.
man, from the moment he literally like got introduced, they were talking about how fast this man was and whatnot, and
He's fast, strong,
he's
ridiculously strong.
he is a typical Goku character, if you ask
Hmm.
me.
Like
Just the stupid, strong, and very very agile.
hmm like for like you got him tossing a shot put ball and it just putting a huge ass dent in a soccer goal
Dude, you fucking
and
just
other stuff.
threw it.
Um, Also within this first little introductory thing, we got introduced to Megumi Fushiguro, and his introduction was really good. We'll probably touch a bit more on him as we get on through the podcast, but at the moment, his introduction was very strong as well.
Yeah, Megami was pretty good. Well, I mean, technically we might as well go into it because
Hmm.
he was literally introduced in the first episode.
Hmm.
So like at first, Megami just seems like this real stoic kind of guy who's just very serious about everything.
Hmm.
Which in turn, that's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
They did not go wrong portraying his character though. I absolutely love Megami as a character. Generally, just the way that he portrays himself. He's really good at what he does, but he doesn't boast about it, which is something that I always appreciated.
Hmm. Another thing I really liked was Yuji's talk with his grandfather before his granddad passes away,
Oh yeah.
where basically his granddad just tells him, "Listen, live your life to the fullest. If you can, help those in need. Even if you only save one person, that one person is really special if you can save them. And don't live without any regrets and die a good death."
Yeah, Yuji
And
really took that literally.
mhm. and
um,
it's
it shows his complete character development just swapped from the first episode. His whole entire character swapped from being
mhm.
this dude who don't care about anything to a guy that cares about his friends personally. He wants to make sure
Mhm.
everybody lives a life that they can appreciate and understand. And that's just his drive as a character.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, Another thing I really liked was the designs for the curse monsters are really really good. They almost
oh
remind
my
me of like how
gosh.
the hollows from like Bleach look, where they're these very varied and different like designed creatures, and man, they are creepy in the show.
They are insanely creepy. For anybody who hasn't watched it, oh man, right now, before you go any further, stop it. Watch the anime, come back to us, and then
Uh,
I'm really wanting to know what people think about this anime, other than
mhm,
us, because personally, when it comes to the demons, holy crap, I don't think anybody portrayed demons better, other than maybe
yeah.
Bleach. Bleach did such a good
Mhm,
job with it that it's hard to top, but I don't know. This anime here, Jujutsu Kaisen is phenomenal all the way around.
mhm.
Uh,
Uh, the music, like I said, the music, which we get a really good um we get a
ooh,
really good show of the music in this, where it's like a mixture of like rock and rap, and it's so good in that first like fight with the curse monster.
right.
And it you got that Yuji sick drop kick from like a 3-story window
Oh my gosh! It
where
just
he comes
again like in the first episode, bombastic energy. Uh, Yuji just comes through the window from the bottom
uh-huh
fucking floor of the school.
uh-huh
And just don't like chrome domes a dude. It's insane. Which
uh-huh
in turn releases his friend, which is what he wanted to do. He wanted to save people.
but at the same time he just comes in and just straight up just drop kicks a monster,
Oh my gosh, man, that
and
that
it's great. And that's
that
just him
was
without using any like energy or anything like that. It's just pure
that's just pure
Yuji strength.
UG energy. It's just pure raw,
um,
like I will fucking murder you energy. Um so
uh,
that brings me to a question, Bobsto.
yeah,
So what did you think about the introduction of crap, what's his name?
uh, describe it. I can tell you.
Man. Uh Sukuna. Wow, I can't believe
Sukuna,
I
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Dude, Sukuna's cool as fuck. As soon as Yuji ate that beef jerky finger, and he got the fucking
Beef jerky.
the tat. It's just an old dehydrated finger. So I just immediately
Yeah.
go to beef jerky. He got the cool marks, the extra eyes,
And
and it's
like I
just a really sick design.
and like I said, for anybody who's completely lost right now, you need to watch it to really get the full of it. But
Yeah.
Megami is sent to the town to recover this forgotten artifact, which is just a demon. Uh, Basically, Sukuna's demon finger wrapped up, and Yuji found it, was bringing it to his friends, and everything went sideways. They unwrapped it,
Mhm,
released a bunch of demons, and then they're
mhm.
trying to get it back. So Yuji, with the introduction of Sukuna,
Sukuna,
comes Yuji eating the very nice beef jerky,
beef jerky finger,
thousands of
very
year old finger.
very tasty, very nutritious,
It was very
and
chewy, I imagine, but he enjoyed
uh,
every
um,
last bite. It's like a slap
but
into a Slim Jim moment for him.
and immediately you get just a small like taste of Sukuna's power, where he just does like one swipe, doesn't even hit the monster, just one
Wow,
swipe, and
man.
the monster's
Whenever
just eviscerated.
right, whenever Sukuna just come to, man, that whole scene was absolutely incredible to me. Oh, he
Hmm.
just comes in and just swipes. That's it. It's gone.
Yeah,
Which brings us into the introduction of our
of
third, or
of
yeah, our third character.
yeah of this series is Kakashi.
Oh yeah, Kakashi-san.
Satoru Gojo,
Fucking
the
Gojo,
chaddest of the
dude.
chads. The guy, this man is
This man will
fucking
come up
awesome.
and steal your bitch in a
The
heartbeat.
way he,
and
the
then
way
look at
he's
you while he does it.
animated.
Man, this dude is everything a man wants to be and more.
As a little, he decides to test out um what Yuji with Sukuna can do. So they have a little fight, and man, that particular fight is really good.
Right, man. It's very very good. Which, like I said, it brings me into one of my favorite parts of the anime is the fighting scenes. They literally do a depiction of him fighting uh Yuji's demon Sukuna. Um, and they do this awesome fucking swivel camera action of Sukuna
Hmm.
coming in to swipe up on Gojo, and Gojo just dodges it like a fucking
Yeah,
champion, dude. It was
and
actually the coolest thing.
then he's sitting on top of Sukuna after the fact, and it's just, man,
But Bobsto,
it's great. Yeah.
brings me to another question.
Yes.
Imagine the power that Gojo wields, which we'll get into more
Yeah.
later. But even in this first episode,
Mm-hmm.
the amount of skill and speed that it took to dodge a
Mm-hmm.
special grade demon.
It's that the whatever after one of his big attacks at the end of the fight, like rocks just straight up like slowly like falling down until they just immediately just drop,
Yeah.
which is like something was fucking with like the gravity with the rocks and shit. Um, Another thing is that I noticed was when he comes in with the desserts from a Kikifuku, and he gives them the Megami. Megami, has this thought of, well, man, we were out here fighting for our lives, and you were out souvenir shopping,
Right.
and Gojo responds to that thought. Like, he doesn't respond, like, because Megami doesn't say it, he thinks it, and Gojo responds to it, and it's great. One thing I also like is that this anime really takes advantage of the animation. The fight between Sukuna and Gojo in the manga was very sort of quick,
It
but
was beautiful.
in the anime they added so much more. So like Gojo sitting on Sukuna, that's not in the manga. That's like an anime only like inclusion, and I think it really adds, like, they really took the extra effort to add moves and stuff that would fit the characters like personalities.
Right. And so, but anyway, let's let's uh
And
let's
back on
move
track.
on. Let's move on into the
Um,
introduction. So
uh,
which this is the introduction arc, episode 1 through 3. Let's go into Nobara, which
yeah.
was
Well,
introduced
no,
to
wait,
this.
wait. Well, I just wanted to talk about a couple other things in the second episode, such as, you got Yuji taking responsibility for his execution order.
But yeah, yeah, we
Um,
we're gonna
yeah,
cover.
and
I'm just trying to get the
yeah,
character introductions out of the way.
yeah,
So like,
yeah. Nobara is really good.
like generally, what do you think about Nobara,
Dude,
however
I
you want to
fucking
pronounce
love
it?
her. She's fucking bombastic. I fell in love with her character as soon as I saw the her abilities with the fucking hammer and the nails.
Dude, she's
The way it was
I
animated and shit.
I have to say the creators 100% nailed her character.
Pun intended. Okay, yeah, Mr. I hate puns.
Shut up, I do.
Hmm.
I absolutely hate puns, but
Yeah.
when the shoe fits.
Hmm.
But
Um,
anyway, general view on episode 2. Nobro was introduced, which was
she was
incredible.
introducing. She was introducing three.
Was she?
Yes.
My bad.
Because the second episode was that's why I was saying we're still in the second
Sorry.
episode.
Excuse me.
But anyways, within episode 2, we got stuff such as Yuji's Toy Story initiation,
Oh, dude.
where basically the principal of Jujutsu High tests Yuji's resolve by using a toy that he's able to imbue with cursed energy and have it fight Yuji. And dude, the animation for this toy
Dude, I don't
is
even want to talk
so
about this
sick and
creepy
hell
little
yeah.
motherfucker.
Uh-huh.
Dude, that's probably the most thing in this entire anime that gives me still nightmares. Like,
Uh-huh.
so like Bobsto said, the principal imbues his cursed energy through um, dolls that he creates.
Mhm.
It's called being a puppeteer, I think, in the
Yeah,
show.
I
Um,
think so.
he, he just makes his own little toys and shit that he imbues his energy inside of, and he releases this one for Yuji to fight, and it's it's so stupidly animated,
Uh-huh.
overly unnecessarily animated.
It's celebrating after it beats the shit out of Yuji. It's fucking slapping its ass,
it's
showing its butthole.
Dude, it's disgusting. The whole thing,
Great.
it wiggles
Uh-huh.
unnecessary. Like I said, it still gives me the
Hmm.
it still gives me the EBGBs every time I think about it.
Uh-huh.
uh,
Um, I really enjoy how Sukuna is able to sort of manipulate parts of Yuji's body, so like a mouth will appear out of Yuji's hand and start shit talking him.
oh yeah. Oh my gosh, dude.
Uh, and then that it's like the one thing I really liked about the end of this episode was overall just Yuji's like resolve and the
Right.
fact that he's in it because he's taking responsibility for what he did by eating Sukuna's finger, and he has agreed to gather up Sukuna's fingers. And another sort of neat thing I like is that he's basically like he's like a Dragon Ball radar for Sukuna's fingers. Like they can't just go out and grab Sukuna fingers and just give them to him. Like he himself has to go out because some of their signals vary.
Right, and that's a just really really cool. So like some are like
Mm-hmm.
super duper faint to where he can't know where they're at, and then some are like super fucking strong depending. And I always wondered like why is one stronger than the other? It really doesn't make any sense. But I mean he had what 4 arms, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure some arms were stronger than others. But I wouldn't see how the cursed energy would get split up individually
Yeah.
in differently formed hues of cursed energy. It doesn't make any sense to me personally. That's probably the only hole in the story that I don't quite
Well,
understand.
it's more like each finger has a piece of like his little. Some fingers are stronger than others.
And see, that doesn't make
Um,
any sense to
like
me
it's a
because
fragment.
it is a fragment of him, but after you put all the fragments together, since all the fragments that are left of him are his fingers, you would
Mm-hmm.
think that they would all have the same amount of cursed energy, which is like I
Well, I
said.
mean, they all have the. It's not the amount of. It's like a signal. Is like the varying strength. Like they're all like the same, about the same like power,
Which
like curse energy wise. It's just they put out different frequencies. They're like think of them like almost tuned to different like radio frequencies.
and it might have got explained in the anime itself, but I put some form of logic behind it, which I really shouldn't, but I did because I'm me. So I'm thinking because there's Sukuna's fingers, and each one was wrapped over thousands of years ago in this special wrap, sometimes that leaks out, makes other demons want to come to it to absorb the power. Maybe that's why some fingers have a stronger energy source than others, because it has
Uh,
more cursed energy around it, not just Sukuna's.
Perhaps.
But like I said, that's the only plot hole. And as the anime goes, that's severely insignificant. So,
Yeah.
uh,
So, but anyway, so on to episode 3. We already talked a bit about Nobara.
Oh yeah.
She's fucking awesome. Yuji Yuji calls her a bitch because she's like at first she's very abrasive and does not like either Megami or Yuji.
Yeah, she well,
Um,
it's not I don't think it's that she doesn't like them. I think it goes down
uh
to the source of that she's just very materialistic about herself and
about yeah.
she just doesn't care. She's just being
Hmm.
herself fully, which personally I'm
Yeah.
not a big fan of Nobara, but I mean not that I don't like her character. I'm just she's not one of my favorite characters.
Hmm.
Um I personally like her abilities and stuff. But like I said, I think she's just very materialistic compared
Hmm.
to.
Yeah.
But it fits with the trio.
Hmm.
All the weird personalities all put into one group. It's kind of like the
Yeah.
Naruto's squad. She's literally
But
the
she's
Sakura
like the
of
Sakura,
Naruto.
but she actually can do things and
Yeah, she's actually helpful.
useless. Uh, so we got that. Where we're showing off the resourcefulness of cursed spirits. So like the curse in this one takes the child hostage.
Oh yeah, and this is probably one of the only things that until you get into the later episodes that is notable about Nobara is when they show off her powers and how she thinks about certain situations. So
Hmm.
like she understands that the kid has been trapped by the demon, and which brings me to another aspect about demons that I absolutely love. They have their own individual thought process like humans do. They're not just this ball of rage. They actually
Hmm.
understand certain situations, which brings them up to, certain classes, which I think this one
Yeah,
was a
which are
very low level 4. Uh,
yeah.
I
But
I
either way,
I compared this demon and it looked just like the that Yu-Gi-Oh character.
Karibo,
Karibo. He
Karibo,
was the
yeah,
Karibo
yeah.
demon. Oh, but
But
go ahead.
we got that. Like I said, the way her nails and shit are animated is just really really fucking cool. Um, the straw doll technique where she, as long as she has like a piece of whatever her target is, she can just use it, like hit it with the hammer and do damage to it.
Essentially, she's just a voodoo doctor. She has her voodoo doll,
Basically.
and if she can puncture one of them with her nail, she can draw the energy from that demon into her voodoo doll.
Hmm.
Or if she
And
has a
then
piece of hair or anything from the attached cursed energy coming off of that.
uh
So,
we um got her back. We got a piece of her backstory where basically she lived in this rural town, and there was a girl that befriended her, but the girl was ostracized um, by the other people within the town, and she left. And part of why Nobara is coming to the Tokyo Jujutsu High School is to try to find her lost friend.
yeah, I
And
kind
then,
of love her backstory. That's probably one of my favorite
mhm,
backstories is Nobara's. Just because there's so much mystery behind it.
mhm.
It introduces this. I guess it's her cousin who comes into town, like you said.
Well, it's just like a girl she befriended,
I thought it
like
was like
someone
a
that is
family
very.
member or whatnot, but
Mm-mm,
either way, the whole town just hates her for no reason. It seemingly no reason. We don't know the actual reason. And it never did get introduced
well, I
in
assume
season one. That
the reason
sucks.
I assume the reason will be somewhere later down the line.
Which irritates me a little bit, but that just goes with the plot build up and whatnot, so I could
Mhm.
accept that. Um, but one of my favorite things from episode 3 was just the actual just brute that Yuji is when it comes to the demon that or the Karibo demon that I like to put. As Noburo's trying to fight it, which is all these mannequin demon things running around.
Mhm.
Uh, the Karibo demon in the back's got this little kid, and Nobara doesn't know how to get the kid away from the demon, and while he's not paying attention, Yuji just busts through the wall.
Uh-huh.
Just busts through the
It's
wall, and
fucking
then this was probably one of the funniest things. He turns to Yuji with the kid's like fucking head and his claw to his throat, and
mhm.
Yuji's just like, I don't give a shit. He just punches the Karibo demon. He just punches the dude. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't
Yeah.
care about this kid not dying, maybe, but you know what? You're gonna die. This is the absolute
Mhm.
Chad that
Yeah.
Yuji is sometimes. Just makes me laugh.
But with that, they go after they finish up their mission. They go have a nice dinner with Gojo, and then now we can move on to the Curse Womb arc.
Oh yeah, this was a really interesting arc to me.
hmm
Oh man, because it introduced so many new things.
It's so much.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, it introduced so much to the whole idea of what special grade demons can do.
uh-huh. So one thing this introduces right off the bat is the tier list for demons, which goes from like I think level 4 up to special grade. And there's
Yeah,
like separate special grade tiers as well. Basically, it's like 4 would be like a super weak demon you could take out with like a standard melee weapon, and then special grade is like straight up if you were had to use conventional means like nuclear weapons would have to be used.
right. It's and they just send these random teenagers in to
Uh, well, they think it's going to be a very low level. They don't think it's going to be a special
no,
grade.
see that's not what happened
Or at least,
eventually.
well,
That
well,
well in the
well,
minds
well,
of
well,
what we know
well,
now.
for for the Tokyo no, for the Tokyo people and Gojo's people,
Right.
that's all they knew is that a curse plume has formed over this prison, and a low level curse has made its domain within this prison.
Little did they know though, which is released inside of a later part of the anime, it was actually a
hmm
trap
as a
for
setup,
it was a
which
setup to take out Yuji,
hmm
but that's later. Right now, they
but
just focused on it being, I think they said a level one.
I don't. I want to say it's like a level 1. It's like something that that at their level they should have been able to deal with.
Exactly.
Um,
Which at the moment they were all level three. No, no, no. Megami was a level three sorcerer.
mhm.
And Yuji was just level. He wasn't even rated yet because technically he hadn't went through his training or nothing. He just was brought along.
Um, with that, the it's quite brutal.
Who, dude?
You see, when you get into the prison, everything's all fucked up and twisted because the demon has like made this place its domain, and the body they find is just mangled and just
Oh, and that
it's
that
such a
that brings into another thing with the mangled body scene. The character development, which is something I really, really loved in this anime. Everything really worked
mhm,
together. Um, just the divided opinion of both Yuji and, or not opinion, but moral code of Yuji and Megami.
mhm,
Megami was on the mindset of fuck this dude. He's in prison. There's a reason he's here. Who cares if he dies? And Yuji's like, he's a life that I was intended on saving today. And I don't care what he
mhm.
did in his past, which, breaks down to a specific human nature moral code, which you don't really see in a
Mhm.
lot of anime. You really don't.
No,
Something I
which I think
appreciated.
that's something a lot of the newer like manga and anime made by this like new generation has tackled a lot of those issues and divides, and it's
Right.
really good.
So
Um,
essentially, this arc is about them trying to take out the special grade demon inside of the prison.
yeah, and man,
Little
this monster has such a hype design.
This monster looked so absolutely sick. And like I said, I would put a picture up for everybody, but I'm not going to do that for the sole reason of making people go watch it.
Hmm.
It looks so freaking good. Like I said, if you haven't watched
Yeah.
it, go watch it. I don't want to ruin anything for you up to this point. It is so dang good. Go watch it. But I'm going to
Hmm.
continue. The arc itself is it introduces something that it's called a what is it called? Bopsto.
Domain expansion.
Domain expansion. That's exactly
Expansion.
what it's called. It breaks
And
into the
dude,
very first vision of the domain expansion.
and dude, the fact that you get to see it's Sukuna Yuji that does it, it's so great. And his domain expansion is probably one of my favorites in
You talking about
the show at
Megumi's
the moment.
or
No, that's later. No, Sukuna does the domain expansion first.
yeah? I thought you said Megumi.
Yeah. No, I said Sukuna.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, my
Yeah.
bad.
But you're good. You're good. But Sukuna's the fact that Sukuna that we could see do the domain extension first, and that design of the shrine with its the with Sukuna on top of it and the reflection on the bottom has Yuji.
It
It's
is
such
awesome.
an
Which,
amazing design.
the picture that I have uploaded for this video now is a slight version of what you would see. Um, it's this is what his domain expansion looks like. This is just a tease or a tidbit of what is yet to come from you watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Uh,
those who have watched it, you totally understand where we're coming from. It is insane.
and another thing I like is Sukuna before the domain expansion just absolutely did not give a fuck with the with the monster.
And
Yeah,
just to let everybody know, the domain expansion that was first done was by the special gray demon they were actually going to try to
yeah.
find. The whole prison was the domain expansion,
Mm-hmm.
which I found incredible. That it could be so large, uh,
Mm-hmm.
that it could literally become a building. That's phenomenal to me. Um,
Um,
but
but like I said, Sukuna just not giving a shit towards like the monster. He's like, oh man, you're like weak, and he fucking this bit where they're falling up from the rubble,
and
and
he,
he's
he
just he's
tries
just
to give the
chilling.
demon a chance. He
He
tried.
tries to give the demon a chance. He's just chilling on the rubble,
And the demon said, "Nah, dog, we
and
gon'
it's
we gonna do this
as it's
today."
falling. And you got good old him slicing the monster into ribbons,
Dude,
and it
it was
just him
insane.
taking the finger from it,
So
and
another thing that we haven't mentioned yet, something that I absolutely love is Megumi's powers. Gets introduced very heavily in these two episodes.
oh yeah,
Um, the first one I want to introduce is demon dogs. Oh my
yeah,
god, man! And just get this straight. These are not. He has the power to bring spirits, cursed spirits, from out of what would seem a void of nothing.
yeah.
So he can call on these spirits at any point in time and then cut them off almost instantaneously. Um,
Hmm.
so you got your demon dogs, and I think the other two things that were introduced in this one was his frogs.
The frogs are later,
Was it
I think.
okay? The frogs were later.
No, actually, I'm trying to think. The frogs might have been here. I know there was either a monster or it was one of his frogs. There was a frog in this book.
There was a flying winged monster for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was like the bird. Um,
the bird and I guess the dogs were the ones that got introduced into these two episodes.
mhm.
And it really breaks down into what Megami can do in these two episodes,
Yeah,
which after so the reason that Sukuna had to fuck up that demon was because Yuji let him take control. Yuji
hmm,
was getting decimated by this demon. This
yeah. He
demon
got
was literally
fucked.
taking his hand off by just raw power
Hmm.
emitting from him. It wasn't like he didn't like grab his hand and break it off or anything. This was like watching a piece of wood go through some sandpaper and slowly. It was
Hmm.
very graphic, very very graphic, and somehow Yuji's control of Sukuna went from where he could control him coming out not to
Yeah.
he could
To
not
not.
get control back from
Hmm. I
which
think it has something to do with the finger.
yeah.
I think.
So like it had something to do with him swallowing the finger from the special grade demon because the special grade demon had a part of Sukuna's finger that he swallowed, and I think just the
Hmm.
overwhelming power of the second finger itself caused Yuji to not be able to come out and take control back, which ultimately sucked, but really helped the character development of Megami and what he can actually fucking do, and the dynamic between Megami and Sukuna. Uh,
Yep.
I'll,
They
I'll
they
I'll let
they
you go
they
from here.
they have a fight because Sukuna's well, I'm gonna go out and kill people, and Megami's like, no, I can't have you do that. And they have this awesome fight. I think Sukuna, if I remember correctly, kills one of his dogs.
Oh,
I want to
dude,
say,
that
or one of them die.
Sukuna didn't kill the dog. It
They
was
killed a dog.
the
No,
special grade when they first entered the prison killed
yeah,
the
yeah,
dog.
that's what it was. But like Sukuna is like fucking up Megami, and this is his hype fight, and Megami's just trying his best to get away.
Yeah, it's he's just literally
And
trying
then
to. I don't know if he's trying to escape him or if he's just trying to
draw
bide
him
some
away.
time
Yeah,
for Yuji to take control back.
it's
Uh,
probably a mixture of the two.
but it never really went into full detail about what he was trying
Hmm.
to do. But I could understand if you were going against Sukuna that you would
Yep.
want to run away. The
But we got
overwhelming
um
power
because
shift or power dynamic between the two
yeah.
was almost incredible, and that's just two fingers of Sukuna.
Mhm.
Um,
Actually, three because Gojo gave him one.
oh, that's right, he
Yeah,
did. So
yeah, in
three
episode two, we forgot
fingers.
to talk about that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. So
Um,
he's three fingers down at this point.
yes, three fingers deep, three
three
beef,
three
three,
fingers
three.
deep in your palm.
um, we got part of this here. We also got I think in the middle of this fight we get a piece of Megami's backstory where he was adopted by the Zenin clan, and
Yeah.
his sister got cursed,
And
and that's part of his prey.
The
We'll
Zenin
get into
clan,
them
yeah, we'll get into them later,
in
like
depth,
as the arcs go through. It'll be in the second episode.
but
So
man, but dude, the Zenin's like
crazy.
is awesome, and uh, we got his backstory, and we the fight. We got the end of the fight with um Sukuna removing Yuji's heart, and then Yuji
Oh,
takes control back at that moment,
that was absolutely
and
sick.
mhm,
Literally just don't give a fuck. He just took
yeah,
Yuji's heart out, and
Yuji dies.
like I
He's
said,
a dead
anybody
boy.
who hasn't watched it yet and heard that the bomb there, third episode, oh fourth, excuse no, this is fifth at this
Fifth.
point.
This is fifth. This is
Fifth
the fifth episode.
episode, this is already dropping.
Hmm.
So, like I said,
But
shit's
uh,
getting real. So,
this is where we would find out that it was all a setup. Everyone's sort of down and out that Yuji's gone. Uh, Megami and Nobara is hitting them pretty hard.
yeah.
Then, however, there's also some light at the end of this tunnel, and that is the Panda Squad, as I have dubbed
Panda
them.
Squad!
Where we got Maki Zenin, Togi Inumaki, and Panda.
And we will get more into their character. Well, we can get their character
Uh,
descriptions, but we're not going to get into their abilities till
hmm
second episode. But
But they're there to help train with Megami and Nobara for a event that's between the Tokyo and Kyoto schools for Jujutsu High.
And this, that, I think that's what ends it right there. They're trying to get them
Yes.
prepared for
Yep.
the event, and
And
it cuts
now,
out to the bomb drop of the episode where uh, Yuji miraculously comes back to life by making a
mm,
deal with Sukuna, which I'm not going to go
hmm
into great detail about, but Sukuna made a deal with him that he could use him if he said a specific word or at any specific time that he want to, but
hmm
Yuji had to forget all about it.
yeah,
And but that scene itself was absolutely amazing.
yeah.
But
Well,
I'm not going
first,
to get into full detail about it.
yeah, first Yuji, he doesn't accept the deal, but then Sukuna's like, all right, how about we fight? If I win, you're just gonna accept it and forget all about it, and then Yuji just gets absolutely manhandled. Like, not even he couldn't even get a hit in. It
Yeah,
just
it's just
immediately.
eventually though, uh,
Mhm.
uh,
But I want to
he
say technically this
just
is the start of episode 6. So this is the start of the curse training arc
exactly. So
where we got
we're dipping into at the end of episode
so
5 he comes back to life, but in
mhm,
episode 6, which starts the curse training, it brings into
mhm.
how he come back to life.
Uh,
Uh,
uh, so one thing I liked was Gojo shows his own motives for why he's training these kids and why he's taken over with that, and that is he wants to raise a new generation because he does not like how the leadership of the current um the current power structure is with the jujutsu sorcerers, um
literally gets
the
in the
higher
face of
ups.
this old man and just says, "Your
Yeah,
days are numbered, bitch."
yeah. He does not like that. He's not a big fan of the people higher up within the jujutsu sorcerer
But
um world.
so ultimately in this
Uh,
arc, everybody is going through their own training. The trio does not know, or at this point the duo does not know, which is Megami and Nobura,
hmm
doesn't know that Yuji is alive. So
yeah.
side by side, you got Megami and Nobura going through their own specific training with the Panda Squad, and then
And
Yuji's going under secret training under one of my favorite people. But
not
between no, I'm
not
getting
quite
to it.
yet.
Yeah, not. I'm
It's
talking about.
first you're about to
He
start talking about
starts.
Nanami.
Well, no, like in a minute.
No,
I'm just introducing
okay.
Nanami.
Well, you're jumping over episodes.
I'm not trying to.
It's
Just
sorry that but
I'm just referencing him at this
yeah.
point. I'm just doing an overview of the arc, and then we're gonna go into
hmm
detail about it. Yuji has his own specific training to where he's doing stuff that Gojo's making him do in the basement, pretty much. I love his,
He's just watching movies.
which, yeah, I mean, his special training that he thought was gonna be intense and fun is literally him sitting down with another one of the principal's little creations,
hmm
watching movies and having to control his emotions while watching it.
Well, it's controlling his curse, the flow of his cursed energy,
Exactly, which
so he has a
comes
constant
from
flow.
emotions. But I'll let you
Uh,
describe that better. Is
uh, so basically, a cursed energy is slightly tied to emotions. So the movies are to sort of help him with releasing said cursed energy, and basically every time he doesn't reach the threshold with the doll, he'll just get punched. Just sock him in the face.
it's so great. Um,
Um,
it
we
was
got
so
some we also got some introductions to some people that you referred to as one of which is Krakatoa, Mr. Joga,
Krakatoa,
where we got
dude.
a mysterious man and Krakatoa is sitting in the diner talking about their plans to fight Gojo.
This the introduction of these characters was so insane.
Hmm.
I couldn't believe they just introduced characters like this. It just a
Yeah.
casual. When you get into most animes and they bring up introduction of a new villain, it's so casual with no information.
Hmm.
Whereas this introduction of the one guy with cursed spirits, well, not spirits, cursed demons, whatever they're called in the anime,
Hmm.
very very high special grade demons that nobody else can see. So this man walks into a one of my favorite parts. Just walks inside of a diner, sits down and they're talking about Gojo the whole
Hmm.
time, and acquiring a specific item from the school. Um, so this one man walks into a diner. He sits down and he's just talking to himself to everybody else.
Yeah.
But to us, the people who are watching, it's he's talking to the cursed
To
demons and
Krakatoa.
Krakatoa, and we'll get
Uh,
into Krakatoa in a second. Oh, and then there's this weird wooded demon. Wooden, like
mhm.
he's made out of like limbs, and he's
Yeah.
she. Excuse
She
me, it's a
yeah
she.
she doesn't come until a bit later, but it's just our mystery man, and
She was there.
she was not there.
It was Krakatoa and
It was in mystery man. Yeah, those were the two.
there was three.
Mm-mm. You're thinking of the fight with Gojo where she appears.
Okay. I'll let you
That's the
have
first
that
time
one,
she
cause
appears. Yeah,
I'll let you have that one,
but
cause
it's just Jogo and our mystery man.
cause your memory's better than
Um,
mine. But either way,
but we got
he literally gets into
we got a
this.
waiter who
Yeah.
who is just terrified. He's like, oh man, I feel like if I go over there, I'm gonna die.
He's like, if
And
he literally says that, he's like, if I walk over there, this is the day that I die.
hmm and Jogo gets really excited over the fact of being able to try to seal Gojo that he has a little eruption and a bunch of people just brutally burned to death like in this
Oh
entire
my
diner.
gosh, man. He literally, like, this one, the main server dips out. He's like, I quit. And then the brave woman walks up to the table. Hey, can I get you something to eat? And then instantly just gets combusted into
Decimated.
flames. She just combusts into flames.
Hmm.
And then the whole restaurant catches on fire. So the introduction of these villains
Hmm.
is insane. Of them burning down a whole diner full of people. Like,
Hmm.
not
But
that that's funny in any kind of way, but the fact that they chose to introduce these characters in such a bombastic way was
mhm.
absolutely incredible to me.
But since we talk about Jogo, we can talk now a bit
Jogo.
about this is his name. His name's
I know,
Jogo.
but it's funny
Yeah,
because
it's
you got
just
Jogo and you
but
got Gojo.
and it's spelled the same way as it's spelled the same way as Gojo as
Yeah, I
Jogan.
know.
It's um we got Gojo versus Jogo, and
Starburst
man,
Kakashi.
the it's and the fight is like so hyped because like he thinks he's gonna get the upper hand on Gojo, and Gojo is
Oh
just
man.
absolutely talking mad shit to Jogo the entire time.
So like, oh man. So what did you think about Gojo's fucking powers, dude?
Dude, I love it. Like the fact he's able to like block shit and do all this like
Oh my
crazy
gosh.
shit
It was
against Jogo, and the fact
insane, dude.
the fact as it goes on, he fucking he dips out just to grab Yuji so he can demonstrate domain expansion to Yuji.
So like anyway,
And
this fight's very memorable to me.
mhm.
Just because of all the craziness that happened. Plus it furthers the training. So I forget. During the training arc, Nanami is introduced, right?
He's introduced at the end of it
He's
because he's
introduced at the beginning of the
at the
next
beginning of
arc.
the Mahito of the next
Gotcha.
arc. Yes.
Okay. All right. So anyway, he uses this like just flexes on Krakatoa I will always put this man. Uh, he's not even taking it seriously. He's putting the fight as a learning experience for Yuji.
Uh
So in the middle of the fight, which is one of the funniest things to me, he takes Yuji to show him what domain expansions are. Literally just teleports, grabs Yuji, teleports back, and Yuji's just like, "What the hell just happened?"
huh.
And it's just talking shit about uh Gojo is just talking shit about this dude the whole time, just disrespected him.
Uh
That's
huh.
like one of my favorite parts.
Yep.
Um,
And Jogo has had enough, and he opens up his domain expansion. And it's
oh my
just this big
goodness.
rocky lava place, and it's hot. And then Gojo's like, "Yo, Yuji, hold my beer. Watch this shit. Watch this shit."
Dude,
As
that
he pulls his
his
own
oh my
domain
gosh.
expansion, Infinite Void.
Infinite fucking void. Holy shit. Oh, that's all I can say about it. Holy
Yeah,
shit. It was so
it's
damn
just
good.
big
Uh
ass, just void of like cosmos, of like space almost.
dude,
And then,
I can't even explain how amazing this scene looked. So, once again, if you've gotten this far and listened to us, please, if you don't watch the anime, at least go watch this scene. It is absolutely
mhm,
incredible. He just just the flashing of the colors and the dynamic of everything, how beautiful Gojo's powers actually are compared to the actual decimation that he has of his
uh-huh,
powers. It's literally the pinnacle of the beauty of destruction. That's the best way to put it
oh
to
yeah.
me.
And it's just that the fucking the head rip animation, the way it's
Oh my
stylized,
gosh.
it's so fucking good.
Which, the
And
art
this is,
style in this anime is already incredible, but these little manga inputs, like almost manga style inputs, in these like super high quality transitions in these fights, holy
mhm,
crap, dude, it's always
it's so
insane.
good. Um, the we also at the end of this fight, Gojo's about to put in the final blow, and this is where our tree girl Hanami is introduced, where she comes in and
Ooh,
saves Jogo,
Hanami.
and then our mysterious man is just like, well, you can keep him. I mean, he failed the mission technically, but you curse spirits are kind of odd, and they go over to the beautiful fucking beach.
Oh my goodness. And this pretty much introduces the next arc villain,
Mm-hmm.
Mahito,
Mahito. He's just chilling on a beach chair, and then
covered in stitches.
we learn this mysterious man's name is Gato.
Amazing. Absolutely
Uh-huh.
amazing. So like the big
And
mysterious long-haired black suit, well,
yeah,
robes, ceremonial robes for some reason. I don't know what it is about his
and
traditional Japanese robes.
mm-hmm.
That just
Well,
make him
it's like
looks
a he like he
cooler.
looks like a it's like he looks like a monk. And he has like
Almost a month,
he has
but
like a
once you
like a
get
Japanese monk look.
into once you get into the introduction of what his powers are, which Gojo introduced a smidge of his power,
Hmm.
talking to the old man about how he's just not going to end up doing anything,
Yeah.
or how
Hmm.
the old rule is going to dust. And
Yeah.
he kind of discusses what the mysterious man's powers is, which I'm not
Yep.
going to talk about it yet because
So
technically they have not been introduced.
we can wrap this arc up with good old episode 8, which introduces our man. This is probably both mine and Red's favorite character in the entire show so far, and that is fucking big man
Cowman.
Aoi Toto.
Oh wait, Aoi Toto. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, Aoi Toto.
Toto.
Yeah,
Toto.
he gets introduced at the end of this arc, and
Oh, fucking
he
Toto
quotes,
and Mai.
yeah, Toto and
Oh
Mai,
my goodness.
and they're from the Kyoto school, and man,
Which is
Toto's
just a
fucking
rival
awesome.
school, by the way.
Wh-
It's just
Uh,
just for clarification.
and the way he's introduced, like he has gone on to be my and Red's favorite character throughout
Oh,
the series.
dude. He he he, he literally just goes around punching things.
uh,
It
he,
just
he
oh wow.
he
I'm gonna
judges
let you cover this
I
cuz
mean, this man's a Chad. He judges people's character by their taste in women. Uh, his fight with Megumi is really really good.
oh wow,
We
man.
also
Just the
we
raw
get to see
power behind Toto.
of Toto. Yeah.
Oh, and just his raw power, not even his cursed energy at this point. Uh, I say cursed energy, but it's not cursed energy. What is it?
Well, I mean, he puts it and he imbues it into his strikes.
So the powers that they use are is called cursed energy.
Yeah, they have there's two different things: cursed energy, which is like let's say like your chakra,
Uh huh.
and then you got your cursed techniques,
Right.
which would be things like Nabar Straw Doll, the summons, and what we'll go on to talk about later on with in the second part of this podcast, where we'll talk about Toto's Boogie Woogie at a
Wookie
certain
wookie
point,
wookie.
and
Sorry.
but he's able to he imbues the strikes with like curse energy, and it's like hype. We get to see Megami summon frogs, and they're really sick. Um, and other than just reiterating this, the animation of the fight's really fucking awesome.
Oh my
We get to see
goodness, man.
Toge's power, where Toge basically just breaks up the fight by using
Toge.
his cursed speech technique.
So
Um,
it goes into this more into the the next episode that we'll be covering, but this man is feared by all.
hmm
Literally, just his speech. He can literally just tell you what to do, and it happens. It's like
hmm
the movie. I think it's Enchanted, Ella Enchanted, or whatever
Yeah,
that movie is, where anything you
yeah.
tell her to do, she has to do it.
hmm
Uh, he literally has the power to do that to everybody.
hmm
uh,
And that's why he speaks exclusively in rice ball ingredients whenever he is not fighting or not having to use his voice in a fight,
right, and
because
brings me into my next thing. Like, how do they understand this
they just do
man?
listen.
There's no way there's any
They
correlation at all between his words. He's
nah, man,
literally
it's
just
fine.
talking. He says food items.
I
There's
think it's more in his intonation. I think is
what they
more
just
so
use?
what it
They just
is.
use really special context
Well,
clues. What are they just
no,
smarter than
it's
everybody
like,
else?
well, I think it's the way he emotes when he says it. So like he has a very so um and like I said, it's more so in the intonation, and like if it's like the sound of it. So it's like a happy sounding or like a affirming sound. So if it's like a yes or no, it sounds like he's doubting something if it's no, just stuff like that. It's
maybe,
just more.
but
I
it
think it's
never really
more
goes
so in the
fully into it. That's just logic.
intonation.
Uh,
Um, um, we got Gojo's meeting with the principal for the Kyoto school, and he's just talking shit, utterly just fucking disrespectful. Um, they mentioned Gato within this meeting, and the girl there, which I forgot her name. It said in the arc that we'll cover in the second episode for this podcast, but she is utterly just fangirling over Gojo the entire time.
right, right. Oh man, that was really funny.
Hmm. And with the end of this episode and the end of this arc, we got a nice, cool scene of just like this theater. It's silent and
Oh,
it's really
dude,
eerie.
this
And
arc
then you just have
is
these mangled bodies.
oh, this whole scene right here with the movie and brings into one of my favorite characters, which is Pumped Up Kicks Man,
Oh, Junpei. Junpei.
Junpei.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's where you can go and enter the versus Mahito arc and talk a bit about this kid.
dude, Junpei. He's just this
I'm
little kid.
gonna take the pumped up.
Dub kicks. He's literally the definition of edgy teenager who hates
He
everything
is
and
he is
everyone, but
he is a,
with perfect understanding.
mhm.
The
He
reason I say
is
this is
being
because at the beginning of the arc where it shows the theater of these mangled bodies, Junpei is getting before this happens, Junpei is getting bullied by these three bullies at
mhm,
school, and they're with this chick, and he ends up mouthing off that the only reason that they like this chick is because of her tits. He's like,
uh-huh.
the only reason they want to hang out with you is because they want to see your tits.
And he just gets the shit beaten out of him more. And then when it cuts back to the theater of the bullies just sitting there and talking over the movie, one of them mentions the girl's tits, so they're definitely like he was spot on with that assertion.
Yeah, he was very spot on with that. She didn't even put out.
Yeah, and they're just being annoying and shit. And we got Mahito who comes in, and they can't see him, and he's just like, I need to teach you guys some manners,
Oh
and he just
yeah.
instantly kills them. And Junpei is able to see Mahito carry this out.
And that brings us into the Junpei finding someone who, quote unquote, finger emotes,
Understands. Yeah,
understands how he feels.
I mean, in a way, he does, but at part it also is like he's just
It's
playing
not that he
into
understands. He's just
Junpei.
playing to the ear of
Yeah,
Junpei.
yeah.
Uh, so
Um, so we got Yuji investigating with one of Gojo's assistants, and we find out, any attack with cursed energy is not traceless. They leave behind a trace, and they follow it and whatnot. And we got an introduction of one of your favorite characters,
yeah, man.
Kito Nanami, Cowman.
Cowman. And the reason I call him Cowman is because everything he wears, even the cover of his knife, literally has a cow design. I
It's like spotted, but like the blade itself, it does have like it looks like cow spots.
the reason I love this man so much is his demeanor about everything. He is such
Uh
a
huh.
savage man. He's
The
just
man who
like, you
was
know what, motherfucker? I don't care about you. I don't care about this place. I
yeah
care about getting paid and clocking
yeah.
out. That's what
He's
I
like,
care
man,
about.
he's like, man, I hate being a jujutsu sorcerer, so I quit.
So
But
the
then I was like,
reason
you know what, I
they
want.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Sorry.
I know. And then he goes works at a insurance firm, and he hates that even more. And he's like, oh fuck it, being a jujutsu sorcerer is way better, even though I hate it just as much. Like
Which,
I hate.
his backstory explains everything, but
Hmm.
it's more in the last episode of the arc.
Of the arc,
Uh,
and we'll get to it.
yeah, but I mean, you might as well cover it now with his description.
Yeah.
Because then we don't have to cover it later.
Uh, uh, Basically, I mean, it's just he didn't like how the insurance sale stuff was handled, where he's like having screw people over, and he's got this whole thing where there's a lady who works at a sandwich shop, and he sees a curse on her shoulder. And at first, he just does nothing. He's like, I'm not a sorcerer anymore. I'll just leave it be.
And this lady is constantly talking about aches that she's having on her shoulder,
Hmm.
about it being
Because
so, yeah, because the demon's
yeah,
sitting on her
the weight
shoulder the
of
whole
the just
time.
yeah, and he just feels he's just not satisfied with his insurance work. And we get to the second time where he goes back to this shop, and he decides to exercise the spirit.
And at this point, he's just
And
burnt the fuck out, and he's just like,
mhm,
you know what? I'm gonna come on back to become a sorcerer again because he is a special grade. I think he's special grade sorcerer.
I want to say he has special grade
No,
or
no, 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 no. He's a level one. He was a
level
level
one,
one.
which is basically special grade for Jujutsu
Yeah, pretty
sorcerers.
much. I don't think it goes any higher than
This
that.
is
So the
mhm,
before since we haven't discussed it yet, the grading system comes four being the lowest, one being the highest.
yeah,
So when we're talking about four, level three, level two, it goes backwards from four to one
yeah.
in terms of how strong they are. Just for
Um,
clarification.
but not I like so like back to Sword Anatomy. I like his like cutthroat attitude.
Ha
Um,
ha ha! Joke.
he he's this is how he is. Like he's like everything down to when he's training Yuji. He's like I'm gonna teach you this stuff while we're in active combat.
Right. He
And
he
then
literally just dredges on a whole lesson while fighting, gives away his entire spiel on how his ability works, which is one of my favorite abilities in the whole damn
uh
show, other than
the weak
Gojo's.
points,
The
fucking weak
weak point, a
points.
crit point. He calls them critical hits.
Yeah,
Uh,
critical. Yeah,
he can literally slice and envision anything, find its weak point, which is its crit spot, and then cut
and do
it
more damage. Yeah,
and
do extra damage.
decimate it. And he
Yeah.
keeps his blade covered so that he doesn't do excessive damage.
Uh
So
huh.
at the beginning of the scene, he literally tells this demon that he's fighting what he's doing and how his ability works. Yuji's
Uh
like,
huh.
"Aren't we supposed to keep that a secret?" He's like, "Nah, I think it's better if
No.
they know." The absolute
Hmm.
savagery of this man.
And it's
And
not like only he. It's not
man,
like he can't just do weak points, but Yuji like anyone else can as well, since he specializes in seeing weak points.
exactly. And
And because like Yuji is being trained how to attack weak points.
which is brings me
Against
into this man is so damn strong with his ability, he doesn't even use his blade. He uses the
mhm.
back end of his blade and
Uh
cuts
huh.
things in half with the
Yep.
blunt end of the blade, which is I, I can't even describe how fucking amazing that is.
Uh
Me
huh.
being a
Um.
blades guy myself, I love knives and swords and all of this other good stuff. This man is my absolute favorite character in the entire show. Um,
Um.
other than maybe
He
Toto.
one another sort of stylization thing I like is there's one spot when as they're fighting he wipes the blood off his blade and he wipes it off on the camera, and it's just so
Oh man, that
sick.
was such a good scene of just the fourth
Uh
wall break of the blood on the
yeah.
camera. Oh, man.
Kurt Kurt and he got Yuji's cursed energy trails as he's putting the cursed energy in his fists,
Yes.
and it's like
Which
this black and blue fire, and it
I
looks
think it's called
so.
Divergent Fist. I think it's
Divergent
what
Fist is
it's.
the name of the technique.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And he puts the way the curse energy is stylized with his fist, it's like so So good looking.
It is. It's almost compared to the ocean waves in Demon Slayer. Uh,
Yeah,
and the only reason I know what those look
it
like is
does.
because I've made it that far in Demon
Yeah.
Slayer.
Don't worry. I'm sure we'll cover it at some point on this podcast. But man,
Which,
yeah, I
like
can.
he said, current listeners, we will be covering other animes. And if anybody listens to this and it gets, if it gets hype and y'all actually like it, comment what you want us to watch. We are always taking,
Yeah,
always would love
yeah,
feedback. We're
back.
looking for outside acceptance. Uh,
Yeah.
always. And we're always taking feedback. So
Um.
please, if you like it and you have some ideas, just shoot it to us. We will always take anybody's comment into account.
hmm Um. Other than that, we at the end of this episode, we find out that that these monsters that Yuji and Nanami were fighting were actually human,
Oh my
and
goodness,
we
yeah.
we learned that humans can be turned into these monsters.
Which brings us
And
into the human
see,
side of Yuji.
Yuji does not like the fact because like at first like with the curse monsters like oh they're a monster and they're a nuisance like they can be taken out like no problem.
Which brings us to a softer side of Nanami that you hadn't seen yet,
Mhm.
of trying to describe to Yuji how important it is to end their suffering.
Yeah, because these things like when we'll get in the later episodes for this arc, you come to find out these things are they're they're not having a good time.
They're not. They're
That
in
it is
constant pain. So, in a sense of how the power works, he's literally stretching these people into different forms of their original form. They are in
uh
pain constantly because they're not meant to take this shape at all,
hmm
and is actively dying over time. They're just being preserved by Mahito's ability, which is this. I don't know if we actually covered that
yep
yet, but
uh
um,
not quite yeah but yeah. Next episode, we got you open up with Junpei waxing
Junpei.
philosophical
Yeah.
about love and fondness.
Yeah, how he thinks that I think it was everything, all your emotions come from your heart or whatever
Yes,
that he's talking about.
he says that yes, that basically it's just a product of like the heart. And there's not much. Um, I can't forget what exactly it was, but then Mahito corrects him and says
Shatters
it's
his
all in
dreams.
it's all in the soul,
Which
and then
brings us
without
into the explanation of Mahito's powers.
mhm, where he can basically just manipulate the souls of people, and he has a big collection of these different souls.
So he then goes on this spill and is like, you know what? I'm gonna train you, and then imbues Junpei with cursed energy that he now can obtain and use.
And
Um,
using you know,
which brings us into a very strong character dynamic that I absolutely love, which is
hmm
Yuji and Junpei's meetup. I think that was in this episode, right? The
uh yeah I think first came Nami's fight with Mahito.
right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yes that is what gets introduced in this episode is Junpei is Yuji and Junpei
So
starting
I think it all
to
happens at the same
bond.
time, though.
It's going it's like cutting back and forth between them.
So as they're coming up with this plan on how to figure out if Junpei is the caused the event in the theater, because at this time they don't know who Mahito is. Um, Nanami figures out who it is in a sense, tracks him down, and figures out that Mahito was behind it. But Yuji is getting has a little side quest going on with the secretary. I would call him the secretary. um,
Uh-huh.
and is trying to capture Junpei in a more polite way without actually making him feel
hmm
like he's captured. So, which brings us into that awesome fight between Nanami, the first fight between Nanami and Mahito.
Mahito. And
Absolutely
yeah,
incredible.
it's great. They're fighting each other. Nanami is the trading blows. We get to see Mahito alter his body, like a little bit of how Mahito can alter his body,
Man, so
and it's
that's one thing that freaks me out. Uh, body modifications to me, I can handle it because I've always been very prone to like blood and broken bones and stuff, given my my past and everything. But um, man, when it comes to animes portraying broken bones and twisted shapes and body modifications and alterations, it's disgusting.
uh-huh.
All the way down to when
Um,
Tokyo Ghoul made uh what's his name? The main character of Tokyo Ghoul.
the Kaneki.
Kaneki twist his leg, break it, shatter
Yeah.
it, just to kick
Even
Jason in the
just
fucking face.
uh-huh.
It gives me the same chills with that as it does with Mahito altering his body in different shapes and forms.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally a shapeshifter, if anybody was wondering.
Mm, in this particular episode, there's a teacher talking with Junpei, and he almost gets fucked up.
Ooh,
But
yeah.
thankfully, because the teacher's like, "Yo, man, you haven't been to school. We've been kind of worried about you. I mean, you've been getting along with those boys with your friends, right?" And that just about sets Junpei off because this teacher just absolutely does not have a full grasp of the situation.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I don't like. I hate ignorant teachers and shit when it comes to stuff like that. And this
That
is no
teacher
exception.
was just about to get fucked up.
But then Yuji comes in with the spirit, with the little tracker spirit, and they uh, they get away from the teacher by Yuji just fucking pulls his
um,
fucking pants
that's
down.
probably one of a notable scene for me is when he tries to get
Mm-hmm.
the teacher off, and
Yep.
just this is how far Yuji's like understanding of people goes. He walks up to this guy. The teacher gets mad that he interrupts their conversation. Yuji pulls his fucking pants down without saying a
Yep.
word to Junpei. Pulls the teacher's pants down, takes them
And they
off,
just were.
and just runs away. And
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, almost instantaneously, the teacher runs off after Yuji, but Yuji appears on the other side of the building behind
Yep.
Junpei, and that just shows you another like absolute amazing scene of Yuji, of just
Yep.
his base strength and speed of how
Uh-huh.
fast that he is. That is
And
not
we
demon
can.
power. That is Yuji power.
Is this UG speed? Like I think he made like 2 laps around like a whole city block. I think is what
No,
happened
no,
the
he just went
first
around the block.
time.
He just went
He just
around the
went around the
block.
block. But either way, like he ran around an entire fucking block.
Yeah, that's just another display of how amazing Yuji is. But
Um,
that's how it cultivates into one of my favorite character dynamics. Yuji walks up to Junpei and says, Junpei's like, "Why'd you do that?" He's like, "Because you didn't like the guy."
yeah, he's like, you just don't like him, man. So,
I noticed you didn't like talking to the man. So I
mhm.
took his pants off and ran off with him.
Uh-huh.
It's just his absolute reasoning behind taking this teacher's pants off gets me every time.
Um, but now but you know what? That's all good and whatnot. But what about overtime?
Oh man, well, like I said, it's cutting between these two
It's cutting
scenes.
between them. Yes,
So like that
it's
brings us
when you
into
get
the
back.
final parts of the Nanami fight. And I'm sorry about the jumping, you
Uh-huh.
guys. It's just this is how the episode was broke down.
That's how it was structured.
And the reason we're going into detail about this one episode is because there was so much information in it.
Well, actually, now we're
Um,
into 11, so
yeah, which
that's it.
brings us into the overtime. So at the beginning of the fight, Nanami, the cowman, tells Mahito, "I got to be done by 6." Because that's what time I'm clocking out.
Hmm.
And 6 o'clock hits, and he's like, "Oh
Hmm.
man, See, and he's just trying to figure out Mahito's powers at this point. Nanami's just like, okay, now you done screwed up. Now I have to go into overtime.
Hmm.
Nanami loosens his tie. Uh, okay, Bopsto, you got to tell this one. It's.
He's fucking loosens his tie and just starts going absolutely fucking ham
Oh
on
wow.
Mahito and fucks up Mahito almost to the point where he almost dies.
And Mahito at this point is looking at Nanami like he's using a time-based energy cursed energy. But
Yeah.
no, that's not the case at all. Which it didn't go into discussion about it, but
What's
he just didn't release all of his power. He just didn't want to.
well, it's like a pact he made with himself. Is
Yeah,
that
pretty much. So
he sets a time frame that he needs to finish by, and if he doesn't, he goes into overtime, which
which he
powers up.
just releases more of his power. So like he keeps his power to a minimum until he goes into overtime, which it's not really a
Mhm.
time pact, it's just I'm going to do this until this time, but if it goes any further, I have to end it quickly. So
Yep.
he just it's like the moment fucking Rock Lee says fuck you, I'm going to take off my ankle bracelets,
My weights.
my ankle weights, and then the fight gets serious.
Uh huh.
So it was just like one
And
of those really awesome anime moments where he goes from like nothing to like I'm gonna go even further beyond.
beyond, and he's about to make that final blow, and then Mahito turns into a fucking snake and crawls through a fucking sewer drain.
Yeah, he's like, well, no, like that's not what happened at
like he
all.
is, or like he
He like uses his crit hit skill to break
yeah,
the. He pretty much makes the whole sewer collapse. Takes a
yeah,
big ass chunk out of the wall to
oh
where
yeah,
Mahito doesn't have time uh,
to get out of
to
the
dodge
way.
it, and he literally tells Mahito, one of the most badass, literally the
Yeah.
savagery of this man, literally says, "Oh, if you survive this, I want to meet you again." Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's like, "If you survive this, please let's meet again, or let's continue this
Mm-hmm.
fight another time." And just walks the fuck out, and that
Uh,
comes to the ending. Well, not the ending of that
and then
episode,
well,
but
yeah, well it's like the middle of the episode, but yeah, then that's when Mahito he's like snakes out from underneath the rubble.
and
Now we could talk about Yuji and Junpei's bond.
yeah, which it
Um,
over a short period of the episode, it goes into I don't want to keep breaking down the episode because it's just gonna take more
yeah.
time, but I'm just bringing up things that are notable to me, like Yuji finally, or Junpei finally finds a friend in Yuji, and starts
Hmm.
rethinking about everything that he's been telling himself for so long, and starts to forgive and forget, and starting to see more notable humanity with Yuji. And
Hmm. More specific,
Mahito couldn't take that. He's like,
yeah.
nah, fam, nah, fam.
More specifically, um, I like the fact that the main movie they bond because they bond over their love of movies, and the one movie they bond they first bond over, it's like a basically the equivalent of Human Centipede,
Yeah,
like
it's
legally
fucking
distinct Human Centipede, and
disgusting.
I get the idea that these two guys are bonding over Human Centipede. It's such a great image.
So like I said, over the course of this episode, it just goes into them becoming more bonded, and I just love
They
their character development and
mhm.
bondage. The
They have dinner with his mom. He doesn't like that his mom smokes or drinks.
and the reason behind,
Um,
well, not the drinking more
well, not to
so
drink.
than the
Well,
smoking.
yeah, the smoking. He doesn't like the
The reason he
smoking
doesn't like the smoking is because the bullies put cigarettes out on his head,
on his
which
face.
sucks. But
Uh huh. And things are going well until his mom gets fingered, and
For
and
clarification,
well, she does get fingered. They place they place the beef
in a
jerky.
more in a more unsexual way. um, she gets drunk at the table, and the way that they have to boost the character development of Junpei, um, Mahito, or the mysterious man, it never really went into who did it, put one of Sukuna's fingers on a plate in front of her, which drew a demon out, and the demon inadvertently killed her to get to the finger, which brings us into the pumped up
To
kicks scene.
up kicks. He's got his nice black jacket on.
That his
He's
mom
gone
had
into
in the
like
closet.
I wanna say it was up to like an award ceremony at the school,
It was.
and he's like, "Yo, what's up?" Everyone starts falling asleep except for the main bully, and he's like, "Yo,
What's going
I
on?
don't. What's going on? I fucking I don't like you, man. You fucking bully me, do all this shit to me.
Why
Now
you
you're gonna
bully
get a
me?
taste. You're gonna get a taste, son."
He
And he
literally
pulls
just
out
fucking pulls out his special
he
Elden Ring
you're
jellyfish.
he shows off his cigarette burns, and these dots start forming on the guy's face that look
It's
almost exactly like the cigarette burns.
or not even that. I feel like they looked more closely to Sasuke's curse mark
Oh, I
whenever
get
it
that, but
builds
like,
up around his arms and shit.
yeah,
I
a
would
part of it
compare
is
it
like
more to
he's
that.
yeah. I mainly say that because like it looks like I said, it looks slightly similar to the cigarette burns, and that would be like the main like way he could see himself of getting back at his bully is to put him through the same
Right.
thing that he went through.
But
Um, but we got that Yuji fucking bursts in.
right before he
We have her
kills the man, like,
right before he kills the man, and we got a fight.
which,
And man,
oh my god, this fight was insane. Because Yuji, again, with Yuji's fucking just understanding of the human condition, I don't understand it myself, how
mhm,
amazing this man is. Uh, just doesn't really fight him. Uh, Junpei is going full power and releases,
mhm,
what, his full form of his special little jellyfish that he had,
mhm.
which releases poison.
He releases poison. However, because of Sukuna, Yuji just is super resistant to it.
Which I think
Hurts.
Sukuna is a poison related demon.
Uh, I'm not so sure.
I
It's just
think
it's like
it has something to
I
do
think it's like
with poison. Uh,
I think it's that. I think it's just the combined power of Sukuna and the fact and Yuji's own like immune system that
yeah,
basically he's like resistant to poison. However, it still hurts like hell.
but it brings me into one of my favorite scenes in that arc where Yuji starts, telling Junpei that it's gonna be okay and stuff, but
Hmm.
ultimately Junpei just says no. The
Hmm.
hearts of these people are cursed, and I don't want to have any part of it. And just the, like I said, Yuji's
Hmm.
absolute understanding of the human condition stops.
Hmm.
Lets Junpei shoot a tentacle through his fucking heart. Just lets him do it.
Yep.
And apologizes mid fight. Mid fight!
Hmm.
And wants to help Junpei. And
Stupid. And even have him come be a jujutsu sorcerer
yeah, he said,
and then
"Come
come to the
be a
school.
Jujutsu sorcerer with us, and I promise you, we will all make it worth your while and make you
Mm-hmm.
understand uh, how important that you are to people." And man, just that whole scene really got to me. And then the next scene
Like,
after, I wanted to
before we
punch my fucking monitor.
yeah, before we get to that, I do want to note that the music in that scene when Yuji's talking with Junpei is so good. Like it's like the soft like Spanish guitar
Yeah.
that's playing, and it's just so nice. But when there's like this, a bit of hope, a little bit of light, a fucking bastard comes in and ruins it. with fucking
Fucking Mahito
Mahito.
comes in and he's like, "You're a special kind of smart idiot." In his own little
Uh huh.
words,
He's
calls
just like, yo, you're
Junpei a
so.
very smart idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then turns Junpei into this monstrosity of a being.
Mm-hmm. And he is attacking Yuji. Yuji has him like held, like I think, yeah, I think he's like Junpei's bitten down on Yuji's arm,
No, no, no. He's just
or is Yuji's like holding him?
he's holding him and punching him in the rib.
Yeah, and
Jun or like
Yuji's
Yuji's not fighting back and
yeah,
is
Yuji's just taking it,
like I said, this whole scene right here really got to me. It's probably the only part in the entire series that I just wanted to absolutely
and
cry.
you
It was so
and
sad.
you got Yuji begging Sukuna to help, and Sukuna just absolutely cannot help. And even if
Even if
Sukuna
he
wanted to help,
wanted to, he couldn't.
he wouldn't be able to do that.
Which I feel like he did that. The things that he said in that scene was because he knew he couldn't help.
Yeah.
So he tried to put it
Hmm.
in a way that he would try to hate Sukuna instead of
Yep.
Sukuna trying to explain to him that he couldn't help, which
Yeah. Part
brings
of it
a
also.
more understanding on Sukuna's part
Hmm.
too.
Which part of it also was like Yuji mentions how he wants to make a pact with Sukuna, but like he
He
already has
already
a pact.
made a pact. He just
He
doesn't
doesn't
remember.
remember. Uh, and
But
then Junpei dies because he can't take like the absolute toll that Mahito's transformation has on people.
sorry about that, dude.
And Yuji
Let me turn this down.
some oh,
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
something. I'm sorry, but something snaps in Yuji, and he is
Dude, not
absolutely
something snaps. His whole fiber of his being fucking
it
snaps.
just snaps, and
He's
he
pissed. He's pissed the fuck
goes
off.
absolutely sicko mode.
That's
And
not even a good
you
way to
got
explain it. Holy shit, this man goes into an absolute rage um against Mahito. And Mahito starts
mhm,
to, regret his decision a little bit.
uh-huh.
Where Yuji
Um
is not even using this whole arc. Yuji's not even fucking remotely using Sukuna's power and is keeping
uh
up with a special grade demon using nothing but just a
mhm.
small amount of his cursed energy.
And he's just like the image of when Yuji runs up those fucking stairs, and the energy behind like all like the whole energy of like the movement, everything in that scene, it's just so fucking
Which
good.
this whole fight leads us into the last episode, where
Hmm.
after this whole fight happens, and like Bopsto said, they're in the hallway fighting, which
Um,
Mahito starts to discover that maybe I shouldn't do close range on him. He brings
but
out these
it's
really awesome fucking special made body
hmm
modificated weird fucking I don't know scorpion blades almost,
hmm
which is one of the coolest things I've ever seen come off of Mahito.
yeah,
Um, but that
he's
brings us
fucking.
into sorry, go ahead. What did you about to say?
It's just like it's that fuck, had it right on
Are you talking about
my
that
mind.
that
Oh, uh,
transition? Like,
no, so it's like that. He's able to can turn his like this the overall like manipulation of his body where he can use it to like fucking turn like his arm into like this like whip blade.
yeah,
It's got the fucking spikes that shoots at long range and hits Yuji, and Yuji's fucking brings him down.
yeah. And
Um,
so at this point, Yuji's very beat up, very bloody, and Mahito's not doing the best.
mhm,
He uses this special power as Yuji slams him up into a wall. Mahito uses this weird power of, I guess it's teleportation.
yeah.
That just got introduced. His teleportation, and as he teleports, he thinks he's gonna fuck up Yuji, which brings me into absolute unit Nanami, uh,
Hmm.
coming in and saying, "Uh-uh." not today.
And he starts absolutely just going
Last second,
ham.
fucking saves Yuji from getting dead. I
Hmm.
mean, that's all I can say. Yuji would have died
Yep.
there, given if Nanami wouldn't have stepped in. Um, which brings you into how fragile Yuji actually is
Hmm.
through the whole series. He's actually very, very vulnerable. He just don't give a shit, and he's got the highest pain tolerance of anybody I've ever met, or not met, but you know what I mean.
Hmm. But now that Nanami's in, Mahito gets absolutely fucking ganked. They're teaming up on him,
Dude, this
just
fight's so
fucking
incredible,
beating the absolute shit out of Mahito.
and
And
they start getting
Mahito's
into
like,
this awesome combo character combination shit going on between Yuji and Nanami,
Nanami.
which is
And
incredible.
it's
Another
so.
swivel camera 3D action fucking amazing fight scene.
Mhm.
Uh,
Let's see. Then Mahito is like, all right, fuck it, I got to do it, and he pulls up his domain expansion
this was
and
so
separates
sick.
Nanami and Yuji.
Oh, we didn't even bring that up.
Didn't bring up.
Oh, dude, we didn't bring that up.
Yeah.
Uh,
You talking about when he
so
touches Yuji's soul for the first time?
yeah, he tries
Yeah.
to touch Yuji's soul, which, like I said, is how Mahito gets his powers. He takes people's souls and condenses them, as where he can alter their bodies by altering their soul. But Mahito starts realizing that Yuji is capable of understanding and seeing his own soul. Mahito's like, I want a piece of that. He goes to try to grab Yuji and gets sucked into Sukuna's domain
It's
expansion,
domain.
and that was a fuck up for sure. So
Hmm.
in to make a long story short, he gets sucked into that dimension or that domain, and Sukuna's like on the top of his pile of bones, Megalord sitting up there. He's just like,
Yeah.
look, it's just blowing on his fucking fingernails. I can accept a mistake here and there, and seeing as how you're gonna decimate this sad excuse of a person that's controlling me right now, I'll let this go this one time. But let me just get one thing straight. Don't ever lay your filthy fucking man hands on me ever again.
On the other. Yep.
It was insane. And Mahito said, okay. He said,
And Mahito
okay.
gets. He is absolutely terrified.
That's
And so
why.
when
Go ahead, go
he
ahead, go
hits
ahead.
the go. And so when Maito pulls up his domain expansion, he makes sure to separate Nanami and Yuji because technically, when he does the domain expansion, that with how the domain works with all the hands and shit in it, that would absolutely count as him touching uh Yuji's soul,
It,
which would cause it all over
yeah.
again. And Nanami's about to get fucked.
Yeah, not it goes. That's
Um,
when what we described earlier about Nani's
yep.
backstory. That's what happens in that scene, and
Mm-hmm.
essentially what happens in Mahito's domain expansion is that he's literally holding everybody in his hand. So like his domain expansion is nothing but hands, to where he could just grab your soul instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has to touch you to get power of your soul. So Nanami's
Mm-hmm.
about to get fucked, and then all of a sudden, Yuji busts through the top with nothing but raw fucking power. Busts
Yep.
through Mahito's domain expansion, and then in turn, without actually meaning to, he touches Sukuna's
Touches
soul again.
Sukuna again. And then he's like, "Oh, warned you. Listen, boy. Like I told you this would happen. Get fucked." And
He
then,
fucked Mahito up. Literally almost cut the man in half. Just with his fucking fingernails.
uh-huh.
And so after that happened, Mahito goes in fucking fight or flight response, and
And
turns into this giant fucking sack of flesh that's
Hmm.
supposed to explode generally, and
Um, I'll say.
gives him a moment to escape.
Hmm. One thing I forgot to mention about this fight I wanted to bring up is how Maito's not really limited to like what shape the shape his body can take, but he can also change what age his body is. So
Mm-hmm.
there's one bit where he turns into a child, so he's a lot more nimble and quick.
Which is really, really cool that he can do that. He
And
can literally just
just the
change
fact
how old he is.
I gotta give it to the guy who made the manga for it, who got like really creative as to what like they got very creative with what Mahito can do with his body.
And when he went into the child form, which was really cool, his body not only went into child form, but his voice went into child form. So they
He was just like
swapped actors like mid range. As he was going down, his voice was changing, and
hmm.
that was one of the notable things for me.
Yep.
But
But
ultimately, that brings us to the end of that arc.
the there's one thing the art closes on that is Yuji's like kind of bummed because he's having to deal with the fact that you got to kill people, and that's when Nanami has his little speech to Yuji,
Yeah,
and it's so good because like it gets to the point to where like Nanami at first seems like someone who just doesn't absolutely care about anything.
yeah,
Then when you get to that talk, it's like no, he does care. It's just he knows what his priorities are and knows what his limits are when it comes to helping and saving people.
right. So ultimately, as a whole, from episode 1 to 13, which is where these arcs were covered, this anime is phenomenal. And I will
Mm-hmm.
leave my final thoughts as being with the second episode coming, it gets even fucking better.
Dude,
Um
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to
so
discussing it.
please, 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 if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like. Please comment. Anything like from
Any
being
feedback?
any kind of feedback
Um,
we will take. But I will leave it as I love this anime, and with the upcoming episode that we're gonna cover the rest of the anime with, it's gonna blow your mind. That's all I can say.
mhm.
So,
um,
Bobsto, do you have any final thoughts at all?
no, that about covers it. I really, really enjoyed these first 13 episodes. I'm excited to talk about the remaining 12
Me
because
too.
there's some good stuff ahead.
Well,
And
11,
I
not 12.
11. Oh yeah, it's yeah 11.
Because for
But
some reason the
yeah,
arc
yeah,
ended
because
on 13. It was a
on
little weird.
13, and I meant to say 11, but the remaining 11 episodes I am absolutely looking forward to covering. And yeah, that's about it. You about cover the bases really well.
Right. Well, anyway,
And
if
anyways,
if y'all did enjoy this episode, if y'all do indeed enjoy this series, please next time crack open a cold one with the anime
enemy
boys,
boys.
and
Yeah.
please give us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you guys. So with that being said, we will leave it here, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.
All right, see ya.